I had a nightmare. It started off more as a dream that was weird. The long story short of the dream section was I was in a ministry meeting with some different people. Some of them were new people meeting with a guy that I knew in real life. We'll call him Steve. Steve was trying to sign these guys up for this false prophet preacher. This guy is kind of the scumbag of the earth. He's more of a con man than a preacher. He's definitely a false prophet. He steals money from weak-minded people, telling them they won't be healed unless he gives them money, and if they don't give him money, the devil will attack them, their friends, and their family. I was trying my best to talk the guys out of joining this cult, but they seemed to be in a trance with the guy's passion who was talking, and it was to no avail. So fast forward to the more nightmare part. As we're leaving this cult group experience, I suddenly turn into John Goodman. I know that sounds really weird, but that's how nightmares are sometimes. In the first part of the dream, it was me in my own body. Now it was me, but it was in a body that is not my own, but it was always as if it was my own in the dream. You know how they work. So, my wife is with me at this point in the dream, also in an older woman's body. And we're driving away from this freakish cult. They're upset with us because we try to warn others from joining up with them. So we go to this diner, and somehow my wife recognizes these people who come in. She knows that they're from what they call the M1 division. We're not sure if that stands for murder or what, but they were there to kill us. So my wife, she suspected this. She grabbed a steak knife as she went to the restroom and hid it in her pocket. She was attacked, and she had a very bloody scene in the restroom, leaving her attacker dead. It was a kill or be killed situation, and she came out on top. The next scene was actually at another truck stop diner type place. This one was a bit more intense. My wife and I were seated in around the middle of the restaurant. Lots of chairs, and it was crowded. There was a party of around 10 people, and these other two people came in late. My wife and I were on high alert, knowing that they already tried to assassinate us once. When we saw these people come in, my wife identified them and said, "That's them." So we decided to act like we didn't know they were there. These people somehow knew the table they were sitting with in the restaurant. They were asking if anyone knew us. No one at that table knew us exactly, but they did seem to know most of the people in the restaurant. So they said, "We'll say goodbye to everybody we know. Keep your eyes on those we don't know." The way the dream unfolded was very surreal. Tensions were high. These older people were going around being super friendly to all their friends. "Oh, hi, Jeff. Oh, hi, Susan." Shaking their hands. "Bye now. Have a great day." But not talking to us at all. It was weird because they were being so nice and loving, but they were signing our death warrants as far as they were concerned. So for whatever reason in the nightmare at this point, everyone kind of leaves, even the other tables. It happened very suddenly. So there's just me and my wife and the couple. That's right, there's a guy and a woman there this time. Both of them hitmen. The hitmen did not realize that we were onto them. So my wife went to the restroom, which in real life would be a foolish decision under those circumstances to split up, but that's what happened in the nightmare. And then I had a to-go box, kind of like a wider pizza box. There was only my wife and I, the two hitmen, and one other man in the whole building at the moment, at least in the main eating area. So I walk over to where the windows are, and they've been doing a little bit of remodeling work, and I acted like I dropped my pizza box. Well, I did drop it, but I acted like it was an accident. And when I knelt down to pick it up, I tore off one of the larger sheets of plastic from where they had been remodeling. I went up to the hitman. I had noticed that earlier he was eating a T-bone steak, and he had taken that T-bone and he had stuffed it up his sleeve, most likely as a murder weapon. So he still does not realize I'm on to him. I act like I'm going to the restroom to check on my wife, and then suddenly I grab the plastic sheet. I put it over his head and attempt to suffocate him, but it's not working due to the plastic being an odd shape around the edges, ripped out. For whatever reason, it's just not cutting off all of the air supply. So I'm trying to kill this guy. We're in a fight to the death. And then he, unknowing to me at the time, and I'm sure an accident, stabs himself with that T-bone, and he's bleeding profusely, and it's gross. But he's not dead. It was a good stab in the chest, but he was not dead. He was still fighting. So at this point, I see what happened. I see the T-bone was what punctured him, and I determine I'm going to kill this guy before he kills me. So I start shoving him up against the wall till the T-bone stabs him in the heart, and he bleeds out. It was a really graphic nightmare. My wife took care of the other woman, the hit woman, in the restroom. Somehow news was getting back to the M1 division each time they failed, and they sent out other people pretty quickly. The first attempt was one person, the second attempt was 2 person. Now it was their third attempt to stop us from outing their cult and stopping their recruitment. We were going this time to a bigger city, kind of like a casino, I guess. My wife and I were there, and you know, nightmares and dreams, they're just so random sometimes. For some reason, all of a sudden I had these sheets that had blood on them, but hey, they were really soft sheets. The blood was from a murder, even though none of the people were murdered in sheets earlier. Nightmares are stupid. And unlike real life, where I'm grossed out by blood and stuff, I wanted to keep these sheets because they were soft. So my wife and I were in the laundromat in this huge casino that kind of had a hotel in it as well. And I'm wanting to wash and dry these things, and she said, "That's disgusting, just throw them away. I don't care how soft they are." And I thought, well, I guess she's right. Now, the dream shifted. Earlier, I was just seeing things from my own perspective in the dream. Now, in this nightmare, I'm seeing things like it's a movie. Even though I'm not in the same room, I'm seeing it. So I saw the hitmen there, and they were watching us, waiting for a moment to catch us off guard. They were in the security camera rooms. This is where the nightmare started to get pretty twisted pretty quickly. These people were waiting for us when we got to our rooms. It was a really violent struggle. At first they had my wife and I tied up. I couldn't get untied, and I was incredibly afraid. They started doing things to me. They started cutting my toes off. And in the nightmare, it was so crippling, it's like I could feel it in real life. I mean, as much as anyone could imagine that anyway without having gone through the pain. Then they cut off my reproductive parts, and they put them down the garbage disposal. I know it sounds maybe funny depending on what kind of mood you're in as you're listening, but it was a traumatizing experience. Thankfully, at that moment, my alarm clock went off. I woke up and I shook my head. I was just thinking how messed up that was. Thankful it was a nightmare. Thankful it wasn't real life. Then I thought, well, at least it'll make for an interesting documentation on the YouTube channel. And here we are. If you have any sick, disgusting, fun, adventurous, twisted nightmares, send them to our page. The email link is on the screen. Comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.